Howdy folks, and welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. I apologize severely for the last couple of videos on this channel. I'm still learning how to use the wireless mic and still learning my camera. And I had the sound in stereo instead of mono. This is in mono now. And I noticed it, my son actually noticed it, and he goes, "Yeah, you're blowing out the mic." And then when I went back and listened, I'm like, oh, not only am I doing that, it's only coming in one ear on my headphone. So it's like, doggone it. But it's published, it's out there. And I found out if I take it down off YouTube to re-up it again, that not only do I not get as many views for it because I deleted the video, it will severely hurt the channel. I've had that happen before in the past, so it's got to ride as is. The content is still good. It's just the sound may not be all that it could be. And if you saw in that previous video that I had when I was out here working on the boat, the wind was blowing the trees in the background here severely, yet the sound was good. I didn't hear all that wind noise, which is incredibly awesome, because if I'd have been using my iPhone or my GoPro, the sound would have been blown out with the wind noise. But this is part 4. We're going to go back in the boat. I'm going to try to get that, you guys heard the sound that was coming out of the water pump, timing cover. You guys have had a lot of great suggestions so far. Some of you have said, well, I'm pretty sure that this has timing gears. And some people say, oh, it's timing chain, but as long as you're taking the front end off, why don't you go ahead and do them off so you have peace of mind? I completely agree with that, 110%, because the parts for this thing aren't that expensive. Aren't. Aren't. They're not interchangeable. I think it's supposed to be aren't. They are not that expensive. And this is, if you guys don't know what type of block this is a 2.5 liter. And this is the old motor that GM had, the same block and everything. It's been a workhorse. It's been known as the Iron Duke because it is an all cast iron motor. It's heavy. This would be an awesome aluminum motor with some sleeves in it if it was in a boat, just because it just take quite a bit of weight off of it. But this has been super dependable for a lot of years, is my understanding. And I've had good luck with my old boat and a couple other ones that I've worked on that had this type of motor in it. So they have the 2.5 and they have the 3 liter, which is a 140 horse. This is a 120 horse 2.5 liter. And as you saw, it ran yesterday. I don't think I have to do anything with the carburetor. I think the carburetor's fine. The fuel pump seems to be fine. It's a matter of how long will the fuel pump last. I might go ahead and replace the fuel pump. Why not? It's cheap. All these external things are pretty inexpensive to replace and just increase your reliability. So the first time you go out in the water, you've got something that you can depend on. Now the other thing I'm going to do with this boat on the back end here is I'm going to put a kicker motor, because I always go out in the water with 2 means of propulsion. One of them is not going to be a paddle. You can't paddle a 23-foot boat in a 5 or 10 or 15 mile an hour wind. It ain't going to happen. I mean, you could rudder it while it blows you wherever it wants to go, but you're not going to paddle it. So what I'll be doing on here is putting like a 9.9 kicker on here. And the reason I want to put a 9.9 on there, maybe a 15, don't tell anybody, is so that I can actually troll with it. So if I want to do some trolling, I could low speed troll with it and just preserve the motor, or preserve the inboard outboard fuel. And I can troll for hours and hours and hours on a few gallons of gas, fuel, whatever you guys want to call it. But I want to have that on there, just like I did on my other Starcraft. I'll probably use one of them Garrelix brand. You can raise them up and down, kicker mounts. Thing's super sturdy. And it would just be cool to have this. Another thing I think would be nice to have on the back of this boat is a swim platform. If this is going to be a boat that's more recreational, fishing, cruising fishing, or recreational swimming and stuff, I think it'd be nice to have a swim platform back there, because I noticed it's really tall. The back end's really tall, and it's probably a good 3 or 2.5, 3 foot out of the water. So a ladder would be nice on the back to climb up, but a platform would be even cooler, just to pull yourself up onto a swim platform, stand there. You could stand on the swim platform while you're fishing too. That wouldn't be all bad either. So, and I like this area on the back of the boat here. It would almost be nice to get a couple of cushions to sit right back here, so you can just sit with your feet dangling off the back of the boat. So we've got lots of ideas. You guys got ideas and suggestions, throw them out at me. But let's get inside this boat here again. I've got about an hour of sunlight left, I think, for filming today. And let's see how far we can get to get this apart. Then I got to put the cover back on because it's supposed to get lots and lots of rain over the next 48 hours. And you guys know how well my cover works, and I want to keep the inside dry. So let's jump in right now. I haven't pulled a motor out of a boat like this, or pulled the motor mount on a boat like this before. So I cut me about 4 pieces of 2x, and as you guys know, this is probably, I don't know, these 4 pieces probably $72 worth of ply or 2x4s in today's prices. Just kidding. Oh man, so close. I'm so close that I can actually, I might be able to take these loose, lift it up a little bit and set it on this last block. Let me go grab a couple more wrenches and my pry bar. Maybe another piece of wood, because if I put a piece of wood here and I pry right here, I can lift this whole thing up. Slip this joker underneath there and have that motor supported. Looks like it's gonna be pretty simple. Also get me some sockets to pull that cover off. Some of you guys suggested that this had timing gears versus a timing chain. Either way, I'd like to open it up and take a look. Why not? Once I got this belt off, I'll loosen this up here and get the belt loose. And we'll spin that and see how those bearings feel. And by golly, I think I saw this water pump. I didn't know where the hoses were. They got this water pump on Amazon for about $79. And it looked like it had a hole here, but it doesn't. This is blocked off casting for this particular application, because this one runs back in through the exhaust manifold to cool it down. Let's go grab some more tools before we lose our daylight. I'm excited to get this part of it taken care of. Then I can move forward. All right, we got a handful of tools here. Well, looks like it's a 7/8 under here maybe, huh? I like the fact that it was bolted, not just wood screwed down in there. That's awesomely cool. All right, let's see if I can pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up. Oh yeah. Now can we pick it up high enough to put a block under it? There we go. Free floating. So you may have noticed I grabbed $10 more worth of wood to do that. Okay, let's finish popping these off. Boy, it don't get any easier than that, does it? Got that loose. And as someone mentioned, it would be smart, and I like to do smart, is to put a new belt on it while you got this thing this far apart, because the only way to put a belt on it is when you take those bolts loose. So now's the time to do it. Now, if you guys just saw what I just saw, I just saw a drop of water come out right down there somewhere, and there shouldn't be any water coming out of there. So even though the water pump bearings feel all right, I think we're going to put a new water pump on anyway. Because if there's any water coming out, that means the seals are leaking and the bearings aren't far behind. A lot of this stuff is really old on this boat. Anything rubber or plastic or anything in between is going to need some work. I fully suspect I'm going to need a puller, possibly to pull this off. And you guys see that water just drip from there? Probably not, but maybe you did. You could run another 10 years doing that. Or it could start rattling the second time I'm out on the water, and that would suck. Now I don't know whether this here just pops off. Hey, guess what? That just pops off. Well, there's a generous amount of water starting to come out of that puppy. That's cool. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this off, because any water that's going to be trapped up in here is going to come on down to the bottom, and it won't get in my gearbox just yet. See all that water? I didn't want to go down in the gearbox. There's a lot of water there. Now, being as this has a no harmonic balancer on here, I think the balancing is done on the other end of the motor. Possibly. Leave comments down below. Ooh-wee. That looks pretty clean in there around those jackets. Crusty. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's nothing in there making any noise. Now just by my judgment eye, I'm looking at the diameter of this and the diameter of this, and I'm pretty sure there's got to be a chain in there, because if I go ahead and drain the water at the back of the block here, should see this go down. That way I won't have any water just barely waiting to slosh over there. That's a one-piece case. I'm gonna have to pull that off with a puller. I guess I'll go get my puller. Hopefully I got some bolts that fit this. 1968, I'm pretty sure it's not metric. We'll go retrieve some more tools. All right, we got my puller on here. Had to do a little jockeying around. Two bolts are bigger than the other bolt, and I didn't have long enough smaller bolt here. I'm guessing they did that at some point in time on this. When there's a harmonic balancer, there's a small one and two larger ones, so you can only put this on one direction or one way. Plus it'll help. The timing mark is right here on this pulley. So that also helps you get the timing mark in the right spot when you reassemble it. So that's all. There's some madness behind the purpose. But I got it on here. I got the bolts barely sticking through here, and on the back side it's just starting to stick through. So I got maximum holding power for the bolts that I have. Now, let's hope it pulls off easy. This little baby ain't gonna make it happen. Well, something's moving or giving. I don't know what. She's tight. She's moving. Whew. That's where more leverage would be handy. Well, I should have brought my ratchet wrench with me and the 1/2-inch drive. Tell you, climbing in and out of this boat is a brutal chore. And I can see why I've been to some of these bigger lakes that have these giant drive-by docks that are set up on the land, which are kind of neat because it allows you to walk up and down stairs and onto a deck and step straight over into your boat for loading and unloading. I think the old backyard marina is going to have one of those, because climbing in and out of this thing with a ladder is getting old in a hurry. Getting arm cramp. Woo. Hope I brought my 7/16 deep well. Sweet. Man, I wish I'd have brought. All right, we're about ready for the big reveal. Timing chain or timing gears? Like I said earlier, my money's on timing chain. Timing gears? Timing gears? Oh my goodness, whoever said timing gears, you're the smart cookie buddy. I would have bet $1.50 that was a chain in there. So that tinny, Ren 10 tinny noise I was hearing, had to be that water pump. Had to be the water pump. Dun, dun, dun. There you have it, folks. Timing gears. But that water pump just doesn't seem like it would make that kind of noise. But it could be if it's a roller bearing in there, which I'm guessing it is, and it just made that clackety clack sound, then the bearing settled down, and makes you want to take one of these apart and take a look. But being there was water leaking, and this is a place for the weep hole here for water to come out of, that would clue me in that that's what it was. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and set this just right here, just to keep the majority of the dust out for now. There you have it, folks. Where you got the boat button back up as far as the cover back on it. I had to order parts. And I've got some of my parts here already. I got a flamethrower coil, I got electronic ignition, I got a gimbal boot kit, I got a distributor, I got timing gears, I got a new belt, and can't remember what's in here, but it's something for the boat, guaranteed. But you know what I didn't order yet? Gaskets and seals. I gotta have those. So I'm waiting for that stuff to show up. So while I was waiting for that stuff to show up, I decided to start working on the Outdrive and see what I can do to figure out what's going on with it. So let's go take a look at it right now. All right, this is the Outdrive that came with the boat. Now, when I bought the boat, if you guys have been following me through the series here so far, the guy said he pulled this off because the gimbal boot was leaking. Well, guess what? I think that wasn't the whole story. And I find that's true with most things I buy that are boat related, especially if they've been sitting around for a year or two and people really don't remember why they quit using it. Well, yes, the gimbal boot was pulled off, and this was laying on the ground. This was in a barn. It was in a shed covered up. This was underneath the boat in the shed, laying on the ground on some wood. But I went and started to check this thing out, and I grabbed this. And I'm like, let's see how it rotates. And guess what? It doesn't rotate. It is stuck solid. And I think it's stuck solid not due to rust, but I think it's stuck solid. Now, there is some moisture in here. And it would take a lot of rust to really lock this up, I would think. But I haven't checked the oil to see if there's any oil in it. But I thought, well, I'll pull this cap off, this bearing cap off first, and just take a look inside to see if I can see anything. And I went to back these screws off, and these screws weren't tight. I thought I was going to impact them to get them out of there, but no, they just backed right out. Somebody had already taken this off, already looked inside, and they did that for a reason. And I'm guessing because it did lock up on the water, and they had to get towed in and all that kind of fun stuff. So fortunately for me in my situation, I have junked out a couple of other boats if you've been following me for a minute. And I have a couple of more of these Outdrives sitting in my other storage place. I'm gonna have to go grab a couple of those and bring them here and see what's interchangeable, what isn't, and to get me a new Outdrive to be an assembled Outdrive, I should say. So the plan is to figure out how to get one good one out of 3 used ones, and that's what I plan to do here. So we're gonna move forward, waiting on some parts. And once I get my parts in here, we'll be putting some things back together. This is gonna be a little bit longer of a process than I expected to get this in the water due to this little problem right here. But that's okay. We're all gonna learn how to fix some stuff together then. So what am I gonna do while I'm waiting? I got an ever-new 35 horse over here I'm gonna start messing with. I'm gonna call this a wrap for this video, folks. When I get some more parts in and we get back out there in the boat, we're gonna get back after it, and I'll be figuring out what I'm going to do with this situation, and I'll catch you up to speed on that when I figure out what I'm going to do. But I appreciate you guys following me, and appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up and that notification bell. And this is Michael telling you, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. I'm out. Why?